The belief that our capacity for love diminishes with age, replaced solely by nostalgia for past passions, is a profound misconception. This isn't merely a mistaken idea, it's a hidden threat that can prevent individuals from achieving the deepest, most authentic intimacy precisely when it is most needed. The heart does not adhere to a calendar, maintaining its capacity to beat with undiminished intensity at 60 or 70. Love transforms with years, acquiring a distinct, more profound, conscious, and crucially authentic form. Ignoring this evolution of feelings can lead to missing the most valuable relationships, confined by the false notion that everything has already happened. Mature men, having navigated significant life challenges, building careers, enduring economic crises, raising children, facing losses, and celebrating victories, are forged by this journey. Their worldview is shaped, yet deep internal marks remain. After 60, they no longer expend energy on fleeting impressions or superficial external appearances, which held importance in youth. Their value system has undergone fundamental shifts. It is now critically important for them not merely to be with someone to fill a void, but to find a true kindred spirit, someone with whom they can genuinely discuss profound matters and equally, genuinely be silent, sharing a quietude filled not with tension, but with comfort and mutual understanding. They seek a woman who will not attempt to remold them, nor adjust their established character and habits, but will accept them as they are, comprehend their inner world, and become a reliable anchor. A woman with whom they desire to greet each morning without rush and bid farewell to each evening, experiencing unchanging warmth and tranquility. This transformation highlights the first invaluable quality for a mature man: genuine attention and the authentic art of listening. Unlike youth, where hormonal influences might smooth over rough edges and superficial communication was accepted, the mature man can no longer afford to waste valuable emotional resources on guesswork or vying for attention. His nervous system, accumulated over decades, instantly recognizes falsity and detachment. When he is interrupted, not fully heard, or his words are ignored, this is not a minor annoyance. It is perceived as a direct threat to his self-esteem and sense of significance. At this life stage, as social roles shift and former sources of validation, career, active child rearing, recede, the need for deep, attentive listening becomes critical. He speaks not for rhetoric, but because he seeks understanding, acceptance, and a response to thoughts he has pondered for years. When his partner sits beside him, phone set aside, her gaze fully focused, he perceives this not only rationally, but also emotionally. He vitally needs to see genuine interest in her eyes, a willingness to ask clarifying questions, and an authentic reaction to his words. This, rather than superficial politeness, is where true respect resides, in the ability to be present not just physically, but with one's entire soul, mentally and emotionally. A man does not wish to be a background figure in a woman's life. He aspires to become a significant, integral part of her inner world. When he is truly heard, he opens up, feeling secure and trusting. When ignored or taken for granted, he withdraws. At this age, he possesses neither the former energy nor the slightest desire to contend for attention, because life experience has taught him to value his inner peace. He simply gravitates to where he feels needed and valued. A woman skilled in the art of listening apprehends not only spoken words, but also what lies beneath them. Subtle inflections, meaningful pauses, shifting moods. She does not rush him or divert the conversation, allowing him to set the pace and depth of communication. Her attention is like a soft, enveloping warmth in which a man can fully relax and best find profound trust. This becomes far more crucial to him than any external attractiveness, as he perceives a woman not so much with his eyes as with his soul. If she treats his words with care, he sees in her not merely a companion, but a friend he can entirely trust. This forms the foundation for deep, stable relationships that do not require constant validation, but are sustained by sincerity and genuine presence. Second, a man values understanding and emotional support with particular intensity. Years bring not only rich experience, but also deep scars, the loss of loved ones, disillusionment with people, painful changes that leave their mark on the heart. A man who has reached maturity no longer seeks storms of passion or dramatic experiences. He yearns for a quiet harbor, an inner haven where his soul can rest from life's battles. A woman who can be a source of this calm, peaceful stillness becomes invaluable to him. He vitally needs to know and feel that beside him is someone who will not judge his past mistakes, will not lecture him, will not point out his flaws, but will simply comprehend his inner state. Understanding in this context is not blind agreement with everything he says or does. It is deep empathy, the ability to see the world through his eyes, to feel what he is experiencing, even if he is silent and shows no external emotion. A man over 60 is often reticent. He is accustomed to keeping much within, processing experiences independently. A woman who intuitively senses his state does not torment him with unnecessary questions, bestows upon him precious peace. This is not pandering to weakness, it is wisdom, creating a space of inner security and emotional comfort. He does not seek advice or solutions to his problems from her. He seeks a shoulder to lean on. Sometimes, a single glance is enough for him to feel he is not alone. Beside him is not a judge or critic, but a loyal ally. If in youth he was accustomed to coping with everything alone, relying solely on his own strength, now he especially values someone simply being present, unconditionally, without pressure, without expectations of anything in return. Support in maturity can be quiet, almost imperceptible, yet no less potent. It manifests in the soft intonation with which a woman addresses him, in her understanding gaze, in how she doesn't demand attention when he is clearly tired. It might be expressed in an offered cup of hot tea, a light touch on his hand, or simple sincere words like, "I'm here." A man senses this on a deep, unconscious level. In such an atmosphere, he can relax, shed his armor, and be himself. He doesn't need to be strong every minute, maintaining an image of an unbreakable pillar. He can simply be a living, authentic person with his weaknesses and experiences. Such a woman is more than a companion. She becomes his home, the very place he desires to return to every day, where he is awaited not out of duty or obligation, but out of true, deep love, where he is understood without words, sensing each other's state. This becomes the most reliable anchor in life for a heart that may be weary from many battles, yet is ready to love even more profoundly than before. Third, critically important for men is respect for his personality, experience, and views. As a man ages, he less frequently seeks validation from the external world, from a broad audience or social groups. Far more crucial and valuable to him is respect from a single individual, the one closest to him. This respect must not be feigned, superficial, or formal. It must be authentic, stemming from genuine recognition of his value as a unique individual. A man over 60 no longer wishes to argue vehemently, defending his stance on every issue. He has passed through those stages of confrontation and proof. Now he seeks a woman who will accept him as he is, with all his established habits, deeply ingrained beliefs, and character traits. Respect manifests in subtle yet significant details. In how a woman speaks of him, not only in his presence, but also behind his back, among her friends or relatives. In the intonation with which she pronounces his name, the words she chooses when sharing thoughts about him. This could be pride or irritation, sincere admiration, or barely perceptible mockery. And a man hears this, even if not literally. He feels when he is admired and cherished, and unmistakably recognizes when he is perceived as a habit, an inconvenience, or merely part of the furniture. For a mature man, it is critical that a woman does not attempt to re-educate or change him. He has a worldview shaped over many years, his own established rituals, his deep interests, be it morning newspaper reading, a passion for gardening, fishing, or collecting vinyl records. He does not want his hobbies or habits to become subjects of criticism, ridicule, or attempts at control. A woman who shows respect for his interests, even without sharing them, becomes incredibly close and understandable to him. Respect is the ability to accept another's viewpoint, even if you fundamentally disagree with it. It is the skill to conduct a constructive dialogue without sarcasm, pressure, or disparaging remarks. It is the calm, confident assertion, "I think differently, but I understand you and accept your position." In maturity, a man seeks not constant admiration or flattery, but genuine partnership in which his inner world and his personality will not be attacked or subjected to reform attempts. It is beside a woman who respects him that he feels he is not just aging, but becoming wiser, more significant, retaining his individuality. He knows he is valued not for past achievements, appearance, or social status, but for himself, for his essence. This profound recognition empowers him to continue living, imbuing each day with meaning. To live not alone, but with one who respects not only his past, but also his present, and is ready to share his future. Fourth, care, expressed through concrete actions rather than mere words. With years, even the strongest and most independent men grow weary of being a continuous support for everyone around them. They increasingly desire a partner who will in turn care for them, not out of duty, pity, or compulsion, but out of sincere, deep love. Care after 60 is no longer a pleasant trifle or an option, but a vital necessity that sustains his physical and emotional well-being. These are not grand gestures or dramatic actions, but a subtle, almost invisible involvement felt in the simplest everyday things. It might be a cup of hot tea on a cool evening, a blanket gently draped over his shoulders, a quiet, unobtrusive reminder, "You look tired, let's rest today and put off our tasks." A man is not always ready to admit he feels unwell or needs help, but he is acutely sensitive to sincere involvement. A woman who does not demand, does not reproach, but simply cares quietly and gently, becomes a source of warmth and psychological comfort for him. Care and maturity is the art of being needed without invading a man's personal space or restricting his freedom. It is a subtle understanding of when it is better to remain silent and simply be present, and when to offer supportive words. It is the ability not to pressure, but to be an invisible anchor in a difficult moment. It can be expressed by simply reminding him to take medication or preparing his favorite dish, considering his tastes and preferences. For a man, these are not mundane trifles or routines. They are powerful subconscious signals. You are important, you are loved, you are thought of. Care is a nonverbal voice that says, "I am here, I am near, and you are not alone in this world." This is especially crucial in an age when health is less predictable than in youth, and feelings of loneliness can surge suddenly and intensely. However, true care is not control. It is not a question of "why didn't you do what you promised again?" but a gentle "how can I help you?" It is not limiting his freedom, but supporting it. And a man, feeling this genuine care, opens up emotionally. He becomes softer, warmer, more generous in his expressions. He strives to be with the one who made his day a little easier, simply because she cares, simply because she loves him. Such care cannot be replaced by expensive gifts or beautiful phrases, because it is felt not by ear, but by one's entire being, every cell of the body. When a man feels this care, he understands, beside him is not just a woman, but one who chose him with her heart. This care, however, gains particular power when combined with inner lightness. And here, what mature men value especially acutely comes to the forefront: a woman's state of mind. Fifth, what attracts a mature man is a positive attitude and ease in communication. With age, men grow weary of conflicts, constant dissatisfaction, and tense atmospheres. Their nervous system is no longer as resilient to continuous stress as it was in youth, and they instinctively avoid situations that demand excessive emotional tension. They no longer wish to argue, to live amidst reproaches and complaints. They instinctively gravitate towards light, emotional warmth, towards a woman with whom they can simply be themselves and rest their soul, restoring inner resources. Qualities such as cheerfulness, optimism, and inner lightness become incredibly appealing. This is not about feigned superficial gaiety or constant euphoria. A man values a woman who possesses a deep love for life, the ability to notice good things, and genuinely rejoice in small details, even in the most mundane manifestations. Some women with years become increasingly grumpy, perpetually dissatisfied, losing their capacity for joy. Others, even after difficult life trials and losses, retain an inner spring, light, warm, authentic, and inexhaustible hope. With such a woman, one desires to walk, laugh, discuss news, simply drink tea, and talk about nothing, savoring the moment. She does not accuse, criticize, or drain a man's life energy. On the contrary, being with her inspires a desire to live, to share thoughts, to stay. A man feels that with her, each day is not a burden, not an obligation, but a new opportunity for joy and new experiences. A woman's positive attitude creates a special atmosphere one wishes to return to again and again. She does not extinguish the light around her. She ignites it, filling the space with optimism. And a mature man, having experienced how much darkness and difficulty exist in the world, acutely perceives the value of this light. Beside such a woman, he feels rejuvenated. His brain receives positive stimuli, which promotes endorphin production and lowers stress hormone levels. Her laughter, her kind gaze, her ability not to dramatize minor problems become a source of strength and inspiration for him. She does not deny life's complexities, but also does not allow them to completely overwhelm her. Her presence is a breath of fresh air that clarifies the mind and calms the soul. It is to such women that men are drawn by the call of the heart, because with them it is calm, joyful, and easy, and because her spiritual light warms more strongly than any words. But even the most positive attitude cannot sustain a relationship if there is no genuine unity at a deeper level. Therefore, another crucial aspect that men value after 60 is what truly brings people together. Sixth, shared interests and intellectual intimacy. When hormonal influences cease to dictate the rules of relationships, deep inner compatibility comes to the forefront, not external appearance. The opportunity arises to be with someone with whom life is genuinely interesting to experience. A man in maturity wants to feel that his partner is not just a domestic companion, not merely a homemaker, but a kindred spirit with whom he is on the same wavelength, mentally and emotionally. They might be united by anything: a love for books, long nature walks, gardening, classical music, painting, or simply unhurried evening conversations about the meaning of life. The crucial element is that there is something shared that makes their we alive, strong, and meaningful. Shared interests are not a tedious obligation or a compromise, but a source of joy in living life together. These are moments when nothing needs explanation. A single glance is enough to understand each other. When conversations flow easily and naturally, and silence becomes cozy and comfortable, not tense. Discussing a book, watching an old film together, exchanging opinions on current news or world events, all these create that special, incomparable feeling of we are together. We do not merely live under one roof. We share this life, its joys and sorrows, its discoveries and reflections. A mature man highly values a woman with whom it is not only pleasant to spend an evening, but also to have things to talk about over breakfast, discussing plans for the day or sharing thoughts. Intellectual intimacy becomes a solid foundation for deep spiritual kinship. This does not mean both partners must be professors or possess encyclopedic knowledge. It means being able to listen to each other, ponder together, discuss various topics without arguments, reproaches, or a patronizing tone. Even simple things like gardening or cooking dinner together can become a source of joy and unity if they involve a sense of shared purpose and mutual participation. Conversely, when each lives in their isolated world, dialogue between partners fades, and with it, the relationship itself, transforming into formal cohabitation. This is why a mature man seeks a woman with whom there is a shared emotional and spiritual space, with whom he desires to plan weekends and build dreams, even modest ones but shared. For being together is not only sharing daily life, it is also sharing a deep interest in life itself. Shared interests fill relationships with meaning, preventing the feeling of loneliness while together. It is important for a man to know, with her, I am interested. With her, I am not alone. And then even the most ordinary day becomes special and fulfilling. Yet even with shared interests, relationships are impossible without honest and open communication. Therefore, another key need for a man after 60 is clarity and sincerity in communication. Seventh, the ability to calmly articulate feelings and desires. With age, a man is less willing to solve riddles, guess his partner's mood, or be held hostage by unsaid words. He is tired of silent grievances, hidden resentments, and passive aggression that erode relationships. It is critically important for him to have a woman beside him who can speak directly, yet gently, with kindness, without reproaches or accusations. Sincere communication and calm, constructive dialogue become a source of deep trust and emotional peace for him. When a woman openly and fearlessly says, "I don't like this," or "I feel lonely," this does not frighten a mature man. On the contrary, he understands that he can trust her because she is honest. Suppressed emotions, unexpressed grievances, and passive aggression destroy even the strongest unions, slowly but surely poisoning them, while simple, honest words, spoken with love, heal and strengthen. A man values a partner with whom he can calmly discuss any problem or disagreement without shouting, accusations, or mutual reproaches. One who does not withdraw into herself, does not harbor resentments for weeks, does not punish him with silence for imagined or real transgressions. He wants to see a mature adult beside him, not an offended girl who manipulates emotions. The ability to articulate one's feelings and desires is a sign of maturity, trust, and deep respect for a partner. If a woman dislikes something, she should say so directly and calmly. If she wants something new or changes, she should propose it, not wait for him to guess. If something brings her joy, she should share that joy. Men need to know they are making their woman happy, and it is equally important to understand when something is amiss, to have the opportunity to rectify the situation. A mature man does not seek conflicts for their own sake, but neither does he fear honest, open conversation, understanding its vital necessity. He knows that true understanding is born through dialogue and from understanding deep, authentic intimacy. A woman who can speak with love, even about difficult things, becomes a true treasure for him. Because with her, there is no need to guess, no need to walk on thin ice, fearing to say too much. One can be oneself, authentic, without masks. This is the most valuable gift two people can give each other in maturity. Yet, even the most sincere communication can be destroyed if one partner attempts to change the other. This is particularly painful for a man who has already traversed a long path of personal development and identity formation. 8th, acceptance of him as he is. A man over 60 is not clay to be molded, nor a student needing re-education. Behind him lies an entire life that has shaped his habits, his views, his character, his value system. He has no intention of abandoning these for someone else's expectations or ideals. He no longer wishes to justify others' notions of who he should be, as he might have in youth. Instead, he desires to be with a woman who accepts him wholly, without criticism, without attempts to correct or improve anything. This acceptance begins with small things, with how she reacts to his daily habits, his hobbies, his established rhythm of life. He might enjoy reading the newspaper at breakfast or listening to the same music in silence every evening. If a woman approaches this with respect and understanding, he feels completely safe and comfortable. But if she mocks, gets irritated, or tries to change it, he distances himself, closing off emotionally. A mature man subtly perceives attempts at manipulation or hidden pressure, and unlike in youth, he will not argue, will not try to persuade or prove his point. He will simply withdraw emotionally, and then, perhaps physically, because he has spent too long finding himself, his authenticity, to allow someone to again sculpt him into a convenient image that does not align with his inner essence. A woman who truly knows how to accept is a woman with whom one does not need to be perfect, does not need to hide weaknesses or be ashamed of past mistakes. One can simply be real, without pretense or tension. It is in this acceptance that a man finds profound relief and inner peace. This does not mean agreeing with everything he does or says. It means respecting another person's boundaries, their personal history, and their unique path. Not every interest needs to be shared, but every interest must be accepted as an integral part of the partner's personality. Acceptance is in essence a non-verbal yet very powerful message. I see you, I understand you, and I choose to be with you exactly as you are. When a man feels this, he opens up in a new way, tender, generous, caring. He becomes who he can only be with someone who gives him the right to be himself. And when there is acceptance and sincere communication, another feeling arises, without which strong relationships and maturity are impossible. Trust. 9th, trust and a sense of stability. A man after 60 no longer needs to prove his significance to the world. He has traversed a path full of ups and downs, struggles and achievements. Now one thing is paramount: to feel that he is beside someone who will not betray him, will not shatter his world, and will not suddenly disappear, leaving behind emptiness and pain. He is no longer prepared for emotional roller coasters, mind games, or tests of resilience. He seeks stability, that inner anchor that provides confidence in tomorrow and allows him to calmly make plans. Trust is not loud vows or empty promises, but consistency in actions and complete sincerity in behavior. It is when a woman does not abandon him in moments of weakness, does not accuse him during difficult times, does not withdraw in resentment without explanation, leaving him to guess. It is when he knows precisely, whatever happens, she is there, she will hold his hand. Without threats, without manipulations, and without emotional blackmail. A mature man acutely senses lies and distrust. His life experience has taught him to recognize these signals. He no longer wants to play guessing games or live in constant fear. He wants to be absolutely serene about his relationship, about his partner. And when a woman provides him with this serenity, he responds by opening up, entrusting her with his soul, his deepest experiences, and his vulnerabilities. This is the highest form of intimacy available to mature individuals. Stability for him is not boring routine, but reliability and predictability. It is when plans are not disrupted by sudden emotional outbursts or rash decisions. It is when one can calmly discuss the future, knowing that words will not dissipate in the wind, but will be substantiated by actions. It is when a relationship is a calm harbor, not a perpetual storm. Such a woman, calm, predictable in her reactions, honest and open, becomes a source of inner strength and steadfastness for a man. Because trust is the foundation of everything. And if it exists, a man is willing to invest his entire self, his soul, and his love into that relationship. Yet, even with complete trust, a man always needs to feel his own worth, especially at an age when social roles have lost their former significance and self-esteem requires a different, deeper kind of nourishment. 10th, recognition of his significance, experience, and inner strength. A man after 60 is not merely a person of a certain age. He is an individual with a unique history. Behind him are decades of labor, struggle, making difficult decisions, and bearing responsibility for loved ones. Even if he is not a hero by societal standards or has not achieved global recognition, his biography contains elements that deserve deep respect and acknowledgement. A woman who can perceive this, who recognizes his significance not only as a husband or partner, but also as a self-sufficient individual, provides him with a powerful boost of inner confidence and energy. He wants to know that his opinion carries weight, that his accumulated experience is not a useless past, but a valuable treasure to be shared. When a woman asks for his advice, genuinely inquires about his views on various matters, thanks him for his support and involvement, he feels, I am needed, I am important, I am valued. This is especially crucial in a modern world where older people are often marginalized, their wisdom and experience ignored. A man vitally needs to feel that his contribution to the family, to the relationship, to his partner's life is appreciated and noticed, that his efforts are recognized and his decisions are respected. Even when silent, he still senses when he is acknowledged and valued, and when he is taken for granted as something self-evident. A woman who can not merely say thank you, but infuse those words with deep meaning, is capable of giving a man a second wind, inspiration for continued living. She inspires him to be strong, responsible, needed. And when a man understands that beside him is someone who values not only his actions or external manifestations, but also his inner essence, his personality, he stays. He stays for the long term, with deep love and devotion. Recognition is not flattery, but a deep, sincere respect for who he has become, for the path he has traveled. It is gratitude for all that has been lived, both together and separately. It is a willingness to be present, not out of pity or fear of loneliness, but out of a conscious, deep desire to share the rest of life with such a person, mature, strong, and at the same time, capable of vulnerability. It is precisely this recognition that makes love after 60 not merely possible, but truly grand and all-encompassing. Love after 60 is not a shadow of the past, not an echo of bygone years, but a bright, warm light of the present. It does not demand youth or turbulent, destructive passions. It demands honesty, deep respect, and emotional maturity. Men at this age no longer seek ideal faces or flawless figures. They seek a kindred heart that will beat in unison with their own. And a woman who knows how to listen, understand, care, accept him as he is, and be present in quietude and joy, becomes for them not merely a companion, but a profound need of the soul, its anchor. Such relationships are not entered into with a storm, sweeping everything away. They are approached quietly, consciously, with deep gratitude for the opportunity to be together. Because true intimacy does not shout about itself, it breathes. It manifests in silence, in subtle care, in a respectful gaze, in an offered cup of tea, in a light, gentle touch. It is about being present not out of fear of loneliness, but out of a deep, sincere desire to share life with someone cherished and understood.